Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Are you team Todd Boehly or are you team Eghbali? That is the question. That is the question. To be honest, there is no right or wrong. There's pros and cons on both sides of the spectrum here. Both of these owners, they have flaws in their project, so-called project. But I guess what is the best for Chelsea Football Club? That is the question at the end of the day. And we can all realize and understand that this particular structure of both owners staying together is simply not going to work out. One has to buy the other one out, and it has to be quite imminent. It cannot drag on for a whole season. It cannot drag on for multiple seasons. There needs to be a resolution for the sake of Chelsea's best wishes, that a resolution happens at least over the next 6 months, because it is a big transaction. Whether Boehly wants to buy out Eghbali, which is the majority shareholder, and there's a lot of money that needs to be raised for that, nearly 2.5 billion pounds, I believe, maybe even close to 3 billion, not million, sorry, billion pounds. And at the same time, Todd Boehly as well, even though he's got a minority stake, which is close to about 13-14%, something like that, even that will take a bit of time to convincing him to sell that. And how much is that worth? What is the value of that 13%? I don't think he's just going to accept anything. If he wants to be bought out, it needs to be at the right terms. And it also needs to be known which owner actually sees Chelsea more than just a business, because that's what it all comes down to. Some of us are saying, no, it should be Clearlake who takes over, because so far they've created a structure. Yes, the structure is not really given us any benefit as yet, but there seems to be a structure, and we seem to be moving in the right direction. However, do they actually have the best interest of Chelsea Football Club, or is it a lot to do with the monetary side of things? Is Todd Boehly far inclined to connect with the fans and emotionally attached to the football club? We need to understand all of these things, because we cannot have a robot being an owner and running Chelsea Football Club. There needs to be a lot more desire to own Chelsea. It cannot just be for the sake of monetary purpose. Yes, the monetary purpose is huge, but it cannot only be that purpose, I personally feel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through the news for the past 24 hours. It seems like Clearlake Capital, they're not too adamant to let go of their stake. We're going to go through all the news, and then we're going to come back to our opinion. And like always, I always want to know what you guys are feeling in the comment section. Let me know, Team Boehly or Team Eghbali. Now, let's go. Relations between Chelsea co-owners have deteriorated to the point where Todd Boehly is pushing to buy out Clearlake just over 2 years since joining forces to acquire the club. This is coming from Financial Times. So to all the people that think that still probably believe that this is just a bit of noise during the international break, well, yeah, I don't think so. Financial Times are not known to just make noise willy-nilly. This is a legitimate situation, and this is a situation which I think is going to have a negative impact on the squad, on the personnel, all the staff members, the players, the managers. It will definitely have a negative impact, because when right on top things are not stable, there is a lot of chaos, it all trickles down and boils to a situation where results are not going to be that easily found. So let's see if it actually has a negative impact. But I tend to think the longer this continues, it's not good for the broader spectrum of Chelsea. Clearlake is adamant they will not sell its shares in Chelsea, leaving Todd Boehly with two very clear options: sell or don't. These are the options with the drama going on behind the scenes. So, look, seems like Clearlake Capital, they don't want to go anywhere. I still believe if the right amount of money is thrown at them in order to buy them out, that entire, majority shareholdership, then I think they might take that. But it has to be the right amount of money. At the end of the day, Clearlake Capital, they're a business venture capitalist. Do you know what I mean? They manage assets. They're there for the business side of things. They're there to make money for their shareholders. So they would want to have a very solid exit strategy. I personally don't think they're emotionally vested. It's more the fact that they want to have a hawk-eye view on the product, which is Chelsea. They've said it. The previous CEO Chris Jurassic called football as the product. So I believe in this case for Clearlake Capital, Chelsea would be the product, and they want to make sure this product is bringing them the dividends. The investment that they've made is providing a return on their investment. So if the right amount of money is thrown at them, I think they might accept it and move on and allow for another majority shareholder to take over. So yes, they're adamant at the moment that they don't want to sell up, but I think they will budge if the money is right. Todd Boehly's side want a team left in peace to run Chelsea. Baghdad Eghbali's preference is to maintain a day-to-day presence for much of the week around his executives. In private, it has been described as a clash of cultures. So this is one of the most important factors. Both Eghbali and Boehly, they do have a different school of thought. I feel like Boehly is not so micromanagement style, whereas Eghbali is very much micromanagement, talking, wanting to stay on top of all details, wanting updates on a regular basis from the sporting directors, from the manager, so on and so forth, very much involved in how the players are doing, going into the dressing room on a regular basis. Now, some may view that as thinking, Eghbali seems to be vested on the Chelsea matter. He seems like he cares. He must be emotionally attached. Yes, you can look at it that way. I personally think this is a little bit micromanagement style of direction. This is he paranoid? Is he worried that the money that's been thrown at Chelsea, he wants to make sure that every penny is giving him the rewards of that investment? I mean, is that the case where he's so much involved in everything and making sure at a micro level Chelsea is operating the way he wants it to operate? Is it really emotionally being attached, or is it really being worried that the money needs to make a return for the shareholders of Clearlake Capital? Todd Boehly, on the other hand, I feel like he has a lot more of a sporting background. He understands the fans. He understands how a club needs to be run. He understands what it takes to win. I don't think he comes across as a micromanagement style of owner. I think he believes in putting a competent sporting director who then runs the entire show, who also reports to Todd Boehly on a, monthly, quarterly, whatever, half-yearly basis, and lets them know of if there's any issues and where the club is going, so on and so forth. So, look, I know a lot of people will hold on to the fact that Todd Boehly made a lot of errors in that first season, but I look at it in the sense that he came in, he saw Thomas Tuchel, and he wanted to back Thomas Tuchel with the players that he wanted to get. Todd Boehly, he doesn't have experience in football, so doesn't Eghbali either. And he was just backing the person that was well equipped to run Chelsea at that moment, which was Thomas Tuchel. Yes, it all fell apart when Tuchel got sacked and those players became redundant. I fully get that. But I think the intentions were right. And I think he didn't want to be the sporting director in the long term anyway. He wanted to have that one sporting director who is credible, who is competent to run the show. Eghbali has brought in two sporting directors who I don't think are always competent. So it is a clash of thought. One is micromanagement style. The other one I don't think is so much micromanagement. And we have to understand that buying out Todd Boehly, he might be adamant to not sell. And that's the issue. But the bottom line is one has to give up. I'm told, although Boehly agrees with Clearlake on buying young multi-club data and those sort of things, he doesn't want recruitment feeding up to an owner. He would prefer one sporting director with autonomy. Eghbali disagrees and prefers two sporting directors feeding to him so he can remain hands-on. And this is the difference in school of thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, between Eghbali and Boehly. Boehly comes across, and this is coming from Ben Jacobs, who, when it comes to ownership news, I think he's got a bit of idea about it. This is why I feel Boehly will allow for the club to operate and just trust that things are going to work out. He'll bring in a competent sporting director who will then hire a competent manager who will then together will ensure that the squad is built in a proper manner. Whereas Eghbali will want to have a say in every aspect of the game, and he wants to have his hands on almost everywhere. So sometimes I don't think that allows for the freedom to work properly. We all know being in a micromanagement situation is not healthy all the time. So this is where I'm coming from. I do also understand that, look, now we're so deep into the Bali structure. Is it worthwhile to just get rid of, potentially getting rid of him, where Boehly will need to buy out and find an investor who can get 2.5 billion, 3 billion and buy out Eghbali? Is it worth doing that, where if Boehly does come in, there's probably going to be quite a lot of reshuffle? And this is what Ben Jacobs talks about in another tweet. However, a lot of people are getting upset about this particular tweet. Check this out. Boehly and people on his side very much backed Pochettino and felt he should have stayed and the stability was important. Eghbali felt he didn't fit into the structure and needed to go. Now, people are getting upset that, oh, that's a strike for me. Boehly wanted Pochettino to say, first of all, we need to understand, I don't think Boehly wanted Poch to come in the first place. If you guys remember, Boehly flew over Arne Slot in his private jet to potentially have Arne Slot being the Chelsea manager. But that didn't materialize. Slot didn't want to take over Chelsea. And then things proceeded towards Pochettino. If you guys remember those news during that time. I think in this case, Boehly, by the end of the season, a lot of us probably wanted Poch to carry on. There was a moment where he finished off the season quite strongly. Players were gelling, and the chemistry between the players, the manager, the entire squad it seemed like it was formulating. So it's not too ridiculous to think that maybe, Pochettino having another season left in his contract was probably worthwhile just giving him a shot. I also understand that he needed to go. I was saying he needed to go all throughout the season, but at the end of the season, because the options of the managers that we wanted to get, I wasn't too convinced, because I want elite level managers. I didn't want another manager that is inexperienced. So that's why I was more thinking the team is doing well somewhat. Players seem to be connecting with Pochettino. Just see this out, see where it goes. And if it doesn't work out by the time December comes around of the new season, then we can chop and change. So I understand what Boehly's trying to do here in terms of backing Pochettino at that time, thinking about stability. He didn't want to chop and change again. Whereas Eghbali, a lot of people can say that, look, he's a particular individual that has seen mistake being made by himself as well, and he wanted to rectify that by getting rid of him, realizing that it doesn't fit. So once again, two different style of thoughts here. Boehly is more about stability. Back that Eghbali is more thinking, if it ain't working, see you later. Let's keep it going. We bring someone else in. Now, is that what's going to happen with Maresca as well? If we don't get our achievements this season, what is our achievement? I suppose there's some, points that's been said over the past few days that there's some soft targets potentially, not necessarily a top 4 finish, but hopefully a top 6, and then we can push on, maybe win the Conference League and see what happens from there on. So we shall see. We shall see if Eghbali is actually there for stability or not. But this particular news has irked a few people. Todd Boehly is confident he has a 2.5 billion fund to end. He has a 2.5 billion fund to end Chelsea's civil war with a takeover. This is coming from Jack Rosser. Yeah, I've got no doubt that he can find investors and raise that 2.5 billion. This guy's connected. He knows a lot of people around the world. If Boehly did assume control, there could be another massive overhaul, which could cause more instability. This is one of the biggest issues. Is he going to just come up and shake up the entire place again, or is he just going to make some little tweaks? That is the question. Look, he is not against everything that Eghbali is doing, as we said, in terms of still looking at young players. He's still okay with that, but in terms of the stadium planning, in terms of some parts of the recruitment planning. He's not happy about that. And of course, he doesn't want two sporting directors. He wants one competent sporting director that then takes full control of the football club, who eventually reports to the one owner. So look, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. This drama is going to continue on. It's not going anywhere. The good news for us is we at least have some games to focus on very, very soon. However, this needs to be rectified ASAP. This is not healthy for anyone. This is not healthy for the football club. The longer this drags on, the worse it is for all of us. So let me know your thoughts about where you're heading, Team Boehly or Team Eghbali. Give me your pros and cons. I personally think Boehly just edges it, but it's not like a mammoth victory. On social media, when you do polls as well, it looks like majority do want Boehly to take over. But I want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya. Smash up the like button. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe.